Will races ever come back to the most magical place on earth? Today on the Do Hard Things Today podcast. Man, Hal, I am getting ready to go back down to Disney World. It's been about 2 years since I've been down there, and we are finally going down for spring break, taking the family down there. Going to be wearing the mask. They're at 35% capacity. But today we wanted to talk a little bit. There's several groups I'm in, RunDisney groups, Dopey Challenge groups, and everybody's just asking a lot of questions. So wanted to take a little bit of time today just to talk a little bit not only about the Dopey Challenge, but also the state of RunDisney. Man, just like everything else, races, the status has just been up in the air. Currently, right now, everything has been virtual for RunDisney races, and Star Wars is the latest one. It was moved to virtual. I'm going to share a few things, and let me preface this by saying this is not official Disney material. I would call it a little bit more than speculation because I've talked to a couple of people that are down there. One that is actually involved in Disney and coordinating with the RunDisney arm of the Disney Corporation. But, it's like everything else, it's a moving target. I'm just going to give you some information and kind of give you my opinion on what to plan for and where we are with RunDisney. First thing is, man, we just feel for how a lot of the RunDisney employees have either been let, like a lot of other during this pandemic, they've either been let go or furloughed. Mm-hmm. They're at an absolute skeleton staff, and it's everything has been affected. Like I said, we're going down to the theme parks. We're taping this end of March. We're going to be down there the first week of April, and they're at 35%. They're at 35% capacity. And when you start thinking about runs and those kind of things, it's kind of a doomsday scenario. Let's say this: the next big one that's coming up is the Wine and Dine. That's in November. It's a really cool race. From what I'm being told, there's about a 0 to 0 chance that one's going to be a live race. Okay. That will definitely go virtual. I think the next opportunity we have to be live at a race in Disney will be Marathon Weekend. Marathon Weekend is kind of the crown jewel. That's when the Dopey Challenge is. That's the January race. I think that's the next real-time opportunity we have for a race. Let me say a couple of things. There have been a lot of concerns that maybe we'll never race again. Maybe Disney's going to turn their back on the whole RunDisney portion of their company. I don't believe that to be true at all. I think it's going to change. I think we may not have as many races anymore as we used to, but I think that's I think it's safe to say that we're going to continue down the road of having live Disney races. Now, what those look like, how many there are, all that is up in the air. But I think our next opportunity to be at a live race at Disney is going to be in January. Now, whether or not that happens, I'd probably put the odds at 60, 65, 35 that it does happen. Mm-hmm. So, anyway.
So you gotta think since they've laid everybody off, and it'd be hard to staff back up.
Oh yeah.
All those logistics to
and
think about.
Projections are that over in the fall they're hoping to have the parks up to a 50% capacity. Mm-hmm. Right now they're 35. And, I think we're going to learn a whole lot over the next 2 months with the vaccine, all the other things happening. No matter what you think about all those aspects of it, I think that's when we're really going to figure out what's going to happen, because I think until parks really get back to where they're at least 75% capacity, whatever, I think it's going to be hard to pull off a race.
How do they do that? They sell tickets per day?
Yeah, you have to get we're going to be down there for a week, and you have to get a reservation for the park. They're not doing fast passes anymore right now.
Oh, okay.
So basically what you do is you reserve a park, and then they do – right now it's at 35%. So whatever 35% of that capacity is, that's the amount of people they let make a reservation for the park.
Okay.
If you don't have a reservation, you don't get in. You can't just walk up and go into the park. You've got to have a reservation for the park. So
now, are some of the amusements closed, or
some are. Yeah, really, with the rides, the rides have not been as affected as the dining is. I mean, rides, there's always going to be
dining.
always going to be refurbs going on and that kind of thing. But the dining, there's no. I was talking to the kids. We always do character dining. We do the Princess Breakfast. We do Tusker House with Mickey and Donald and all that crew, and none of that's going to be going on. There's no in-person character dining.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the dining, the sit-down table service dining is it's at a lower capacity, and it's just, I mean, some of the stuff, I was trying to get some reservations at some of the places we like to go, and it's really, really, I mean, it's almost impossible to get a reservation. And you've got to do the even with the quick service stuff, you got to get on the app and do the. I mean, you can order your food on the app, go pick it up. I mean, it's just a real. That's been more affected, in my opinion. Now, I'll know a whole lot more when I come back, but in my opinion, from the people I've talked to, the dining has been the most affected by this. Crowds, it's rare. Now, I will say this: we're going down spring break. Spring break is one of the biggest. Spring break and the week after Christmas are generally going to be the two biggest weeks of the year. And with it being 35%, we will see a definite decrease in the amount of people in there. But on a regular, even a summer, even during a summer day, rarely do the parks get anywhere near 100% capacity.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting in that aspect. But, as it relates to the RunDisney in particular, that's got to be last on the priority list right now. You figure the hundreds of millions of dollars they've lost by the parks and dining, everything that goes with that. You got to figure that the RunDisney portion of it is going to be last on the list of getting things back going. And so that's why I say that I think January is going to be our the absolute earliest that we're going to see races. Again, my opinion, and from what I've been told from people that are down there involved in it, but that's kind of where we are with that. So where does that leave us? Now, obviously, we'll later in the year we'll go into a more in-depth Dopey podcast and talking about those kind of things. But I did want to hit on a few things just to be able to kind of get you at a place to where you need to be if you are going to do the Dopey Challenge. Because, again, I tend to think that we will have some form of a race in January. What that looks like, the number of people, all those things, I think that's up in the air. But I think we will have a marathon weekend. So if you're interested in doing Dopey Challenge, which the Dopey Challenge is, for those of you who listen to the podcast, obviously you know what it is, but the Dopey Challenge is in marathon weekend. You do the 5K on Thursday, the 10K on Friday, the half marathon on Saturday, and then the full marathon on Sunday. 48.6 miles. They call it the Dopey Challenge. So that's the Dopey Challenge. If you're going to be doing that, it is different than just training for a marathon. So I want to give you just a couple of quick things. This will be a shorter podcast, but just a couple of quick things that you need to be doing right now. And again, you're probably going to be listening to this beginning of April. And so I call this your training to train period. So you are training right now to get ready to really train for Dopey. Number one, I've said this before. I said this on a previous podcast about half marathon training. Don't overestimate and don't underestimate what the Dopey Challenge is. If you will train, if you will put in the work day after day, There, it is very, very manageable. Not easy, but very, very manageable. But same token, don't underestimate it. If you underestimate this and you go out and think that you're just going to fake your way through the Dopey Challenge, it's not going to happen. Or if it does, it is going to be a miserable weekend for you. So don't overestimate, don't underestimate what the Dopey Challenge is. And the secret sauce is consistency. Consistency is what's going to get you through the training for the Dopey Challenge. At the end of the day, if you put the training in, the race becomes the gravy. The hard part is the training, the day after day after day training. If you'll stay consistent, that is what will get you ready for the Dopey Challenge. And even now, like I said, I think right now, I've always people say, what do I need to be able to do the Dopey Challenge? I think by the end of June, you need to be able to comfortably run a half marathon. And so you need to be able to go out and run a half marathon and it not completely kill you. I think that's the base you need to have to be able to really start training in July for the Dopey Challenge. Right now, if you got a few extra pounds you're carrying around, now'd be the time to drop some weight. Ironically, when you really get into big miles and really start doing a lot of training, sometimes you really find it hard to lose weight during that time because you're having to take in calories, you're having to refuel. It's just sometimes it's harder to lose weight while you're training. So if you could stand to lose 10 pounds, lose that weight before the end of June. That way you can be ready to jump right in. Stay positive, man. You know how we just talked about. We don't know what's going to happen. Very well could be that we're looking at another virtual Dopey Challenge in 2022. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants virtual races. We got a lot of races are right around the corner. We finally got to run a 5K at least, and it felt like we were at a marathon, at a live race. It was so good just to be actually running something live. And we got some races coming up here locally with our groups, but just stay positive. Control what you can control. And what you can control right now is you can put in the training to get you ready to be able to do what you said that you want to do. On that same token, the races that are happening right now are more the local races. Find a good half marathon. It's got to be at least a half marathon, but find a good half marathon to train for and get you a good proof of time. What a proof of time is if it's an approved race, approved course, you can run a half marathon. You turn in that time whenever registration finally does open, and then you're seated in your corral. Your corral is basically where they put you whenever before the race. They seed you according to time. And so get a good corral time because at RunDisney, there's a lot of walkers. It's a good thing. It's good that people are walking, a lot of run walkers, which is a very effective method. But if you don't get a good proof of time and you're in a big corral with a lot of walkers, then sometimes that can hold you up. And so if you're wanting to get out and run a little bit faster and have a little bit better time at Disney, get out and find a good half marathon to run and get a good proof of time. We're running one beginning of May down in Myrtle Beach, flat course. Course is a lot like what the Disney course is, flat. So I'm running that, hoping to get a good time to be able to turn in so we can hopefully have the Dopey Challenge in January. So again, I can't speak with absolute authority on what's going to happen there. All I can do is tell you the conversations I've had. It looks like we're going to be virtual through the end of this year, and hoping that the target is to hopefully be able to pull something off in January for the marathon weekend. So hopefully that's what happens. If it's not, then there's a lot of other things you can run out there. And at the end of the day, if you train for Dopey and it turns into a virtual event, you'll more than likely be in the best shape of your life. So anyway, we wanted to come to you. We've gotten a lot of questions over on the Dopey Challenge Facebook page and through our own Facebook page regarding this and RunDisney, and a lot of rumors out there that RunDisney is going away and they're wanting to get away from the races. I'm hearing none of that. I think RunDisney is safe. It's just what's the version of it going to look like whenever it does return? That's the big question. So, Hal, we'll just, like everything else, you've had some big races get canceled already and moved, and a lot of races coming up. I think we're going to know a whole lot if we can get a couple of months down the road. There's a lot of really big races, a lot of the Ironman events, and some of the other big marathons and those kind of things are heading our way. And so I'll be interested to see how many of those get postponed. The good news is most of them up to this point have not been canceled.
Yeah,
they've been moved
off to the fall.
Yeah, off to the fall. And so it seems like to me people are, and I know they coordinate with health officials, that they're thinking more, hey, we get to the fall with the vaccine and everything else that's going on, we'll be in good shape. So, when we look at that tends to put a pretty positive spin and light on January, possibly being able to go down to Disney and have the marathon weekend. So we just wanted to update you. Again, we'll do our normal series of Dopey training coming up. That'll be over in the summer, but I just felt it would be good to answer some of those questions. Talk to you, especially those first-timers. If you're considering doing the Dopey Challenge, you need to get busy and start doing stuff right now. You're in that training to train phase, and so don't let July come up and all you can do is a 5K. It's time to start putting some miles in. Find a half marathon over in June, in June, July. Train for it. You do that, you'll be in perfect shape to be able to take on the Dopey Challenge. So hopefully, over in the summer, we will be coming to you with already being registered and being ready to head and march towards a real life in-person marathon weekend for 2022. So cross your fingers, tap your heels together, wish on the lucky stars, and let's try and hope and pray that we're going to be together for the Dopey Challenge in 2022. Until then, just remember, do the hard things today, and tomorrow will take care of itself.